The Women's Institute was formed in 1915 with the joint aims of revitalising rural communities and encouraging women to get more involved in the war effort. It's grown into the largest women's organisation in the country with more than 200,000 members nationwide. The stereotypical image is one of middle-aged, middle-class women making jam and swapping sewing tips. But joining us now are Sally Thornhill and Charlotte Conlon from the Didsbury WI, who say that the Modern Institute is very much in touch with the modern urban woman. A very warm welcome to you both. You really don't look like WI members.
We don't.
No. And it is traditionally perceived as being very much a rural institution. What does it have to offer to an urban woman now?
Well, we were just asking each other why we joined, and we didn't really have a solid answer, but I think it's the community that people are trying to strive for these days, especially in urban areas where it's such a transient lifestyle, people are coming and going and they lose touch with their own community. And it's almost an instant community, and women are so nice to each other usually. Well, or the other way.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. And so it's a nice little community group going on. I say little, we're quite big now. And I think it's just people trying to get back in touch with some form of community as they pass through, especially in Didsbury, we're very transient.
Yeah.
And so they're just trying to get in touch with some sort of community and instant friendship and a social group as well.
What exactly do you do at the meetings, though? Because you do stick to some of the more traditional activities, don't you? But there's a bit of a modern take on it. Tell us more about that.
There is. And I think we do stick to the traditional side because definitely for me, it's the sort of traditional activities that drew us to the WI, learning how to knit and how to bake cakes and things like that. So what we try and do is, with our programme of speakers, we try to organise something for everyone, really. So I know last month we had a vintage... the Planet Vintage girl who spoke to us about things from the 60s and the 70s, which we really enjoyed hearing about because obviously we were around then. Yeah. But we also we've had some quite modern speakers as well, haven't we?
Yes, we've had lots. We've got car mechanics next month, which is my husband doing it. Bit of nepotism, but we've done lots, and we had vintage fashion to start with, but we also had some of the more traditional WI ones, flower arranging and decoupage. Which I thought I wouldn't be that interested in, but after I did it, I bought some Oasis.
Really good.
For at least a month I did some flower arranging.
Do you think it's kind of come full circle in a sense? I'm just thinking about my family. My mum worked full-time and didn't have time to show us how to sew and how to bake and all those things. Do you think maybe it's women who missed out on that when they were growing up that are sort of wanting to learn more about it now? I
think so. Like knitting, everyone knows knitting has made a huge comeback. Yeah. I think it's along the same lines. I know my mum, she loves to not cook. And she doesn't mind me saying that. She absolutely hates cooking, and I never learnt any skills through that. And I've slowly taught myself, and I just want to know a little bit more. And I think you're right, it's maybe a knock-on. I'm not saying we're not feminists anymore, but it's a new era of it where if you want to, you can learn it, but you don't have to learn it. And so it's a little arena for women to get back more in touch with some tangible skills.
But what would you say to women who did say perhaps you are setting feminism back a bit by encouraging women to go back to doing those traditional roles that perhaps women would say they fought so hard to dispel that image of?
I think it's disagreeing. I always think feminism is about your own choice. If you want to do it, you can do it. And to some degrees, when it was more hardline feminism, you couldn't. It was cutting off some female choices. Some people like to do it. And so that's it. We're not saying you have to do it, and we're certainly not saying you have to be a stay-at-home, have tea on the table. Like, if it's ever my turn to cook cakes, I'm going to be down the shop buying it. I can't cook cakes.
So it's about choice.
It is, exactly.
It is. And you've got your youngest member, I think, is 24, isn't she? And your oldest member.
That's my sister.
Oh, is it?
It is.
And how old's your oldest member?
I don't know.
We wouldn't like to say.
No. We'll not say on air. There must be some clashes at times between the older generation and the younger one. Do you find that when you do clash, it's a good excuse for both generations to learn from each other?
We've not had any major clashes.
We haven't.
No.
It's more with their conviction there.
Yes. No, it's more they find it hilarious that we want to learn the skills that they've almost trying to drop. So yeah, when we all did want to learn some baking and icing and all sorts of stuff, they were like in awe that we wanted to. They were like, why do you want to do this? And some of them want to learn more technical sides like that. So I think each generation's got something to offer.
Yeah, we can sort of learn from each other, really.
So you're sort of encouraging them to use technology a bit more at the same time?
Not overly, but some of them have been interested in it, or just sort of stay youthful and keep with the youthful activities. That's very stereotypical. And we, like I said, we want to trade swap and we want to do some of the stuff that they know how to do, and they just assume everybody knows how to do, but we've no idea.
We don't. And the group only started at the beginning of the year, but you're already bursting at the seams. Would you like to see more? You're the only sort of Mancunian urban WI group. Would you like to see them springing up in other parts of the city?
I would love to, especially recently we've been inundated with people from all over the city asking if they can join and maybe out the Didsbury boundaries, and we say they're very welcome, but especially now we're getting a bit full, we're going to... we really want to show that it's really easy to set up a WI. It just started with a handful of ladies in Didsbury, and they contacted the national WI. And
snowballed from there, really.
Did, yeah, and you just have somebody go, I agree, I second it, and suddenly you've got a WI. And it is that easy, and especially in some of the other areas, like Chorlton, I believe, is we're getting lots of people coming over from Chorlton. They should start their own. I'm not saying don't come to ours.
Not saying they're not welcome, but we'd like to see them all over the region.
It would be brilliant.
Thank you very much, ladies. It's lovely to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you.